Well, hello, everyone. I'm Karen GABORIK, the host of this podcast, Good News, Intuition Works. And the message of this podcast is Intuition Works, and it really does. I'm here to share good news and to invite you to use this important skill every single day. There is a whole other world out there and many different sources of wisdom that we can tap into. And we get so many reminders every day that we are not alone. And this podcast is literally a celebration of how trusting yourself first and learning to use your own intuition can make a real difference in your everyday life. So, if you would like to learn more about the intuition skills and practices that you hear described here today, please visit Inner Access 101 and explore all of the offerings from Lori Wilson, who is the owner and founder of Inner Access 101. You can find links to her website and to her social media accounts in the show notes. So today it is my pleasure to interview Kathy Gerby. Welcome, Kathy. We're so glad to have you on the podcast today.
Oh, thank you. I'm really excited to be here to talk about the great work from InterAccess and Lori Wilson.
But let's start by learning a little bit about you. So maybe tell us, what you'd like to share with us about who you are, personally, professionally, if you like, and what's your passion in life right now? What excites you?
I am a licensed clinical social worker, and sometimes when I introduce myself to new clients, particularly teenagers, kids, I subtract the number of years I've been working from their age. And I have come to recognize that my math is getting higher and higher because I have been a clinical therapist for 35 years now. And so it makes me laugh because kids will go, and
Right.
I'm like, I have that response too. And so we get to start joining right away. So being a social worker was all I ever wanted to be. And so I am continue to be energized and excited about the work that I do with people, families, adults, kids, and also the work that I do in organizations to help
Hmm.
build people's strengths, to build teams, to help new things start to breathe life into really valuable ventures and missions. When I'm not at work, I am the proud mom of three adult girls
Mm.
who who noted to me once, Mom, every time one of us left home, you got a dog. So all
Very
of my
good.
daughters live independently, and I have three boys at home who are all some form of a doodle. So I thought, oh, that was a really good thing that they pointed out for me. I have a son of the heart who lives in New York City, and I have other kids who have entered and sat in my heart. So I'm probably a mom of far more than I have time to talk about today.
I'm really excited to hear about some of those different things where intuition has sort of found its way into your practices, in your personal life or your professional life or all of it. So,
Yep.
why don't you tell us how did you first become involved with InterAccess 101 and Lori Wilson? How did you meet Lori?
So I was working at a high school in the town that Lori lives in. And
Okay.
so there was a group of teachers that went to see her as she was starting some of her offerings, and they said to me, "Oh, she's really interesting, and like the things that grandmother said were amazing." And I
Mm.
thought, "Oh, that's really cool." And then I got a job and moved several thousand miles away. And it was once that I moved, and I hit this place of transition of I just feel like there's more in my life. Her
Mm.
name just like popped back into, I call it my ear. And so I met her when my oldest daughter turned 13, and I was getting ready to go through the beginning of what would be 16 continuous years of female adolescence.
There you go. Oh, that's great. So Lori was there to help support that time period, huh?
Oh, yes. And there is a patience and a humor and a gentleness to grandmother
Mm.
that I just felt so seen and understood and grateful for the larger perspective that took me out of what I was kind of stuck in at the time. They appeared in my life at the perfect time for me.
We're all about good news on this podcast, Kathy. And so, can you share with us a good news story that involves, your personal experience or a professional experience with intuition, and talk a little bit about a particular intuition skill or practice, and how that's had a significant impact in your life?
So I'm going to start with the second question. For me, it's a toss up between channeling, like the signature class, Channeling 101, or frankly, the medical intuition tools. As a therapist, it is so important I believe, for people to connect to their physical bodies and to the things that we carry, the things that we feel. There's been so much attention in the last 15 years paid to the body, and that the body carries memories. We experience our feelings physically, and often when we go into fight or flight, we bypass our heart, we bypass our feelings, and so that's what we're seeking in some ways to experience and recover in therapy. And
Mhm.
so the rigor, the boundaries, the clarity, and the specificity that I was taught in Lori's medical intuition course was so helpful. Um, I have a client who made a comment about in their service job, they feel like they carry a lot. And that's physically and metaphorically. And so they have this pain in their shoulder. And
Mhm.
so as we explore, oh, what does that pain say to you? And like, what does that represent to you? And there is a technique of paying attention to the body that's called a core mind, which is the ability to focus your attention to a specific body area and allow the body to express, to show you what's happening there. And
Mm.
so this client that I was working with spoke about this shoulder. And with permission, as we kind of imagined what was that? What does that look like? And if he could like travel inside and take a look at this shoulder,
Mm.
what did he see? So he shared his story of the things that kind of felt heavy, and he really started feeling a little bit more. Oh, I should say he had the shoulder checked out medically. There was nothing mechanically or tissue-wise wrong with his shoulder.
Wow.
So as he was experiencing and sharing this, I said, "Well, do you mind if I use my intuition and I join you? Like I take a look and I join there with you?" And he said, "Oh no, that's fine." And in looking, there were stories that this shoulder held for him.
Mm.
And he was coming to this transition point in his life. And the story of, I can't carry this anymore. I'm
Mm.
all alone in how I carry this, was the message from the part of him that felt the pain, the discomfort. And in the tools that Lori teaches in her medical intuition class, getting the decision that the person made at the time as to how to survive what was happening,
Mm.
he decided that he was going to carry this alone because there was no one who could help him.
Mm.
And so that's a powerful remembrance that the body showed us, because the sharing of what this really powerful decision was had an impact on his life going forward. And
Mm.
so the relevance right now, the current relevance of this decision is what brings what I have to carry forward. And he could connect that decision to where he was in the transition in his life that was really hard and it felt really heavy, and he didn't want to let his family down. And
Mm.
so, as he was able to recognize the need to take another look, show up with more wisdom and understanding and life experience to recognize in this current moment, he's not alone.
Mm.
The original wound, hurt, he was very much alone, but
Mm.
he isn't now. And so the part of him that like bravely held that, he could extend that loving kindness to himself. And it's my privilege as a therapist to witness, to hold the space, and to witness someone who recognizes a truth so powerful in themselves that it allows them to move and to bring a decision that no longer serves him, to honor and thank the absolute bravery of that younger part that was still carrying and holding things, to now that he can now manage this, a strong adult, deeply involved in his community and with his family. And
Mm.
so that is so powerful. There are a lot of energy readers and people who get excited about the emotions in someone's field. It's Lori's clarity and boundaries and the ethics that she teaches about asking for permission, beginning and ending with the body, and bringing something right back to what the person has asked for in front of them. This is
Mm.
about opening a space for someone to recover more of who they are. And so that's it's been a guiding principle for me in my life. And I am so grateful for the work that Lori has done in developing medical intuition and these sidebars, because that's what it's called. It's a sidebar. It's something that the body has not taken, it's something the body has called your attention to.
Mm.
And there are protocols that allow us to go and honor what the body shares and then to return back to what we're doing. So that's been really powerful. The channeling class, like
Mhm.
the flagship Inner Access 101, has been fundamental to me in building my own trust in myself, in recognizing that some of the things that have happened in my life are actually understandable, that
Mm.
they make sense, that they are so supportive to me. One of Lori's mottos is don't get afraid, get educated. And
Mm.
so it's like she takes away the illusion that there is only some people have intuition or only some people can connect with things that are beyond us. Uh, and that class made a huge difference just in personal reflections of being a kid and seeing something happen before it happened and feeling really afraid of like, oh my goodness, like, can I trust what I saw? Wait a minute, how did that happen? Oh, what's wrong with me? And she was so helpful in explaining about intuition, in sharing some of her experiences and other students. So for me personally, the channeling class was just an amazing place to start back in 2007 or 8, because it's all about understanding and learning about what is intuition, that it's something common to all of us, that it is a skill that can be developed if we practice and we respect the ethics and the boundaries that Lori teaches around this.
Mm.
because we can have access to so many things, and to come from that place of, for me, it's service, making my area of the world, the people I have the privilege to walk with, my own kids, and now apparently a herd of dogs, to have a supported, strong life that reflects who they are and where they want to go. So important to me. Like, the body is not going to have an articulate conversation. The body shows things.
Yeah.
The body may hold past lives. The body may hold different times or places in the world, or it may hold connections to things beyond us. And
Right.
so, to have explored that, to have honored just the wisdom from the place of wisdom and sacredness of each of our bodies,
Mm.
meant a great, great deal to me. And to find that language of, we are here in partnership, but the body seeks balance. The
Mm.
body seeks this its own wisdom, its own strength, as something much bigger, the beings that we are, that inhabit this great space, go
Right.
through our unique lives here.
The power in recognizing that my body isn't working against me. It's actually, like you said, trying to help keep me in balance, right? And so just that awareness in and of itself was sort
And
of
then
shocking.
after you've been in her classes, there are just times that people can come together with her and other people to practice these skills, whether that's
Mm-hmm.
past life regression, medical intuition, business intuition. And that practice is really helpful, because as you tune into your own guide to channel, or you tune into the innate intelligence of a business in the business intuition class, um, what comes through,
Mm.
and the feedback response of the people in the practice classes, um, it can be pretty specific. And I
Mm.
think that sometimes people doubt what they hear, because my experience of the guides is that they are wise and kind, and they see beyond that negative self-talk that we get stuck in. And
Mm-hmm.
so sometimes I have found clients say, that's just too much, too good to be true. And on reflection, some of them have come back and said, I, I just didn't know that I didn't know that I could believe that something that powerful, that understanding, saw me,
Mm.
knew my heart and the
Right.
sincerity of my heart, or helped me figure out how I could reconnect to some of that. And so that, the learning to trust that,
Mm-hmm.
is, I think it's going to be even more important in the next few years to come.
She and Lori does a marvelous job of creating a safe space, to ask questions and try some new things. I find that she puts us in partnership with other classmates, to practice and do some things. And like you, I have found some of those experiences like so incredibly insightful and powerful. I'm like, oh my, like maybe to be a bit cliche, but it's like, wow, this person really sees me. And
Yeah, I don't think your statement is cliche at all, Karen. I think it is the hallmark, or one of the many hallmarks, um, in Lori's work, because there is a basic need ongoing for all of us to be
mm,
seen for who we came as, to be seen for the strengths and the resilience in us, and to be
mhm.
heard. I had a client tell me, Kathy, I think that bravery is just about walking your own path. And he's absolutely right. And it was that moment of his own dawning. Um,
Mm.
and I appreciate the curiosity that Lori teaches that we come from. In medical intuition, her motto is, be prepared to be surprised at every observation. Like,
Right.
there is no rote body, there is no rote um, procedure that we do to someone. It is all about where the body takes us and what the body shows us. And
Yeah.
so um, I appreciate the respect for honoring where someone has been, who
Mm,
they are,
mhm.
and what's happening to them in this real time moment.
So when you look back, Kathy, on your life and you think, this is who I was and how I approached things before I learned about intuition. And, then you fast forward to now after you've honed some of these practices and these skills and developed your intuition. What has changed for you? How has intuition changed your life?
Oh, I trust myself far more than I ever have
Mm,
because I think two of the greatest tools that Lori Wilson teaches are, again, from the medical intuition class, and they are called tracking and sourcing.
mm,
So, in really simple terms, tracking means using your intuition to follow where something has come from.
mhm,
And sourcing is to get who is saying it, who is doing that, who's showing up in the room, these honed, disciplined skills that you practice and you practice within an ethical framework have made such a difference for me in my work as a therapist. As I started more and more down the classes with Lori, I would I would want to have this sense of, okay, so this person is coming. Okay, so I would go to my intuition and look, okay, so what will be most helpful to this person?
mm,
And I would literally hear, just start talking.
mm.
And then I was like, oh, yeah, I know. Okay. But what will be most helpful to this person?
Right.
Just start talking. And no matter how many times I asked the question or varied the question or, tried to be really smart with my question,
Right.
um, whoever kept saying, just start talking,
Mm,
never varied. And so when I got stuck, I'd hear it again, just start talking.
mm,
And then I would have so much support from the space of questions would come forward. Things to say came through that uh, I hadn't prepared for or anticipated and did not realize
mm,
how supportive that was to the person that I was sitting with. And I think that openness of intuition and setting the intention on what would be most helpful for my person
mhm,
has been just some of the huge trust building for me at work. Like that's just been huge. In my personal life, my biological son died as an infant. And
mm,
so one of the many things that Lori in private sessions with grandmother when I was trying to figure this out and understand it, I have come to know and hear and have an experience of him from wherever he is. He likes motorcycles.
mm,
And so I am in Europe for the first time and I am on a moped. And so I'm a little bit of a nervous driver. We're driving in the French Riviera, and I hear in my ear, nice job on the bike, Mom.
oh, wow.
Oh yeah,
Right.
and it so touched my heart. And so
Right.
there I am on my little red moped,
Mhm,
and I'm having this open conversation with my boy.
mm,
And it was the most amazing thing, and I trusted it.
mhm,
So if you're a mother who has a spirit child or a child, oh my God, you had to say goodbye to way too soon.
mhm.
It was such a gift to me in her work.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's powerful. I'm like, Yeah.
I feel that way about it too, Karen. We don't lose anyone. I'm certain of it.
I just want
Mm.
to ask one more thing, sort of before maybe we move toward closing. You've mentioned a couple times the ethical framework. It sounds like you have some very specific protocols around that. Can you talk about that ethical framework and what you've learned from Lori and how that plays out with you?
I went to graduate school and I got my master's degree in social work. And I have all sorts of beliefs in regards to how to treat people, what I believe about people. In the learning and practicing and developing my own intuition, um, we have access to all kinds of information. And that doesn't mean because I can that I have permission to. And
Mm,
so um, I believe people come to therapy because they're asking for care.
mhm,
And I believe in asking for care is about finding more of themselves. So it's not about me telling them who they are. I really strongly feel that I am the expert on me and you are the expert on you.
mm,
And the more that I can support you to bring you into your life and to support you in trusting and learning skills that would be supportive to who you are is the most respectful, healing service place I can come from. And so that in itself requires permission.
mm, mm,
It requires consent because it's your life and it's about you. And it is when you leave my office, you're still going to be living with you. And
mm,
so
mhm,
the more of you that you can claim, that you can honor, that you can come to an understanding of the value and the sacredness and a little more understanding of the things that don't make sense in your world, that comes with boundaries, that comes with safety. A long time ago, one of Lori's classes, she says, well, it would be like going into a service and asking for a haircut, and you come out with a tattoo.
Right.
And so there is an innate value and a sacredness to every human being. And Lori's teachings and practices put those first. And I think that level of honor creates the safety and
Mhm,
that level of permission and recognition that it's your body. You have the say about who can look at it, who can do anything. That's up to you. And so the integrity of her boundaries and ethics resonate with who I am and how
Thanks
I
for that.
believe.
But what would you say to somebody who would like to dip their toe in, but they're not sure?
Oh, I'd say good for you. It is time to dip your toe. If you're wondering, maybe
Mm,
there's something, just tapping at you that it's the right time for you. Lori makes it so simple and
mm,
so understandable. It isn't a rigorous thing that you have to do it like this. Like it's not a crutch that you're leaning on.
mm.
It's a simple understanding. She makes it so simple and clear and understandable. There isn't a turn around 3 times, breathe 4 times, clear all of the energies. It is really about showing up and connecting because we are all connected. And since there isn't like a you must do this protocol that can be like this crutch, she's not giving you a reason that you can't do it because
Hmm.
everybody can do it.
Mhm.
And she lives it and she breathes it and she teaches it. And she has some famously fabulous stories.
Yeah, that was another thing that was so eye-opening to me, just the idea that everybody has intuition and everybody can use those skills. And that I don't know, I thought like only somebody very special, can tap into some of that stuff. So
That used to be the belief
yeah.
that only certain people, for some reason, got this in the handout before they came to the planet, um,
Right.
and and that's just not real. So from the little children in my office who are have tummy aches, and we give their little tummy a camera and a microphone, and we let their tummy do the talking.
Mm,
Those little kids tune in to the most profound, amazing um, wisdom and exactly what they need. And so I have that faith. Probably
mhm,
always had that faith, but wow, Lori really helped bring it home that you have what
mhm.
you need inside of you.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. And I just have to say, what a gift to have you again working with kids and families and clients and bringing this to your work. Because I mean, you can just hear how much more expansive the experience it must be for them. So, well, Kathy, this has been such a fun interview, and thank you so much for coming and being one of our very first guests. It's really exciting to kick off this podcast for Lori and to help do that with you. So, and to all our listeners, please be sure to visit the Inner Access 101 website and take a look at the many intuition-based courses available there. You can find links to the website and the various social media handles in the show notes. And as Lori Wilson, the owner and founder of InnerAccess 101, says, in all things, trust yourself first. I'm Karen GABORIK, and I hope you have a great day. And I'll see you next time on Good News Intuition Works.